Hi, everyone. This is Andrew Oppmann with a special edition of Out of the Blue as Middle Tennessee State University and the rest of the world mourns the death of Dolly Parton, who died at age 80 on Tuesday after a brief battle with cancer. Known as the Queen of Country Music, she was a global icon and humanitarian, and of course, a beloved singer, songwriter, philanthropist, actress, playwright, author, and businesswoman. She was an inspiration to so many, not only in Nashville and in Tennessee, but around the world. She was hope. She inspired many, not only for her music, but how she comported herself in her dealings with people and her actions throughout the globe. Joining us to share more about her career is Dean Beverly Keel of the Scott Borchetta College of Media and Entertainment at Middle Tennessee State University. Well, Dean Keel, obviously, this has been a tough day for Tennesseans and music lovers and really everybody across the world. In your interview with the New York Times that published today, you talked about how Tennesseans are in a state of mourning and likely will be for quite some time. Why don't you expand on that?
Well, Dolly was the most beloved Tennessean, definitely in our lifetime. And if you said anything bad about Dolly, those would be fighting words because she was everything to Tennesseans. Yesterday, I ran into Nordstrom, and a sales clerk told me that a couple of times he had to run off the floor just to cry a little bit. So, I had a woman's music industry event last night and people were in mourning and consoling each other. And I've never seen someone mean so much to so many people.
The way she comported herself, the way that she did all that she did, not only a fantastic singer, but a genuinely good person. I know you've had several opportunities to interact and connect with her and watch her work. Uh, how is that unique, and how has that really defined Dolly Parton?
There was nobody like Dolly Parton. I mean, there was nobody that had the voice, that had her songwriting skills coupled with her East Tennessee rags to riches upbringing, of course, her looks and her humor, her charisma, her generosity. There'll never be anybody like that again. And my favorite thing about her is that, you know, not only was she in on the joke, she wrote the joke. So she was the first one to make fun of how she looked, and she looked like that on purpose because growing up, that's what the town tramp looked like, blonde hair and heels. And to her, that was glamour. And I asked her once, I said, "Does it bother you that your looks overshadow your supreme artistry?" And she says, "Well, no, I'm the one that does it." So she took work very seriously, but she did not take herself seriously at all.
You've done a lot of work to be an advocate for women in country music, change the conversation. In a lot of ways, weren't you trying to get more people to be like Dolly?
There are shirts that say, "What would Dolly do?" And the thing about Dolly is that she was her authentic self at all times. And while the styles may have changed throughout the years, her character, her personality remained the same. And keep in mind, when she came along, women were introduced as Pretty Little Miss Dolly Parton. They were told what to sing, where to stand. They were almost dismissed. And she took control of her own career. She left the Porter Wagner show. She launched her own solo career. She did everything that people told her she couldn't do, all the way up through buying Dollywood and beyond. So, um, Dolly is an inspiration to us all. You know what? Be a little more colorful, be a little more ridiculous, be over the top, but also be serious to your craft, love your family, and give back. I can't begin to imagine everything she had to tolerate as a beautiful woman in the 60s and 70s and 80s and 90s and 2000s. But she never complained. Um, she never told tales. If you would ask her, "Are you a feminist?" she would she wouldn't really, say yes or no, but the answer was there in her songs, as she said in the song 9 to 5 and in the movie 9 to 5. So she lived a life where women received equal treatment to men, right? So they sang their truth, they took center stage, they made their own decisions, they led the team, whether it's a career team or the musicians, whatever it was. So, um, she is the most successful female in country music history. She sold over 100 million records. She had about 26 number one songs. And then there's the whole other side of her life, which is her philanthropy. Don't forget, over 300 million library books have been given to children thanks to her Imagination Library, which she started because her father couldn't read. And little kids around here know her as the book lady.
Hmm.
So, there's so much to learn from Dolly and to be inspired by Dolly. And that's why there's just, a hole in our hearts today in Tennessee. Um, in terms of philanthropy, um, first of all, she bought what was Silver Dollar City, turned it into Dollywood. That's created thousands of jobs, which is over $1 billion impact in that area. She has paid for those employees to go on and get further education. When there was fires in East Tennessee, she gave a lot of money to help rebuild those houses. Same when a hurricane came through, she gave $1 million that helped Vanderbilt University Medical Center develop the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine. Um, she's hosted telethons. And that's what we know about. So think about the thousands of things she did that we didn't know about.
So you're an educator, and obviously Middle
Right.
Tennessee State University has a very successful recording industry program. What are you going to teach to your students about the life and legacy of Dolly Parton, and what should they learn from her?
The first lesson from Dolly, of course, is the beauty and talent of her songwriting. And although few of us will be able to have that skill, we can inspire our commercial songwriting students to write their truth, write what they know, make the personal universal. She's a true Cinderella rags to riches story. There's the famous song Coat of Many Colors. Well, if you go to Dollywood, you can see the actual coat of many colors that that tiny 9-year-old wore that her mother made out of little patches of fabric. And so that inspires our students. If she made it from a house that didn't even have indoor plumbing, you can too. There's also responsibility to give back and help others because that's the true success in life. And that's the most rewarding thing. That's the best feeling in the world. I saw somewhere they said yesterday Dolly was addicted to giving. And that is the best addiction I can think of because nothing feels better than helping others. Um, she teaches us to be very serious about your business. When it came to her business, Dolly didn't play. She showed up ready. She was on time. Her team was in line. She made sure everybody got what they needed, and then she moved on. I remember I was doing a Parade magazine cover story on her, and she came in for the photo shoot. And after a few minutes, she said, the photographer, she said, uh, "Did you get what you needed?" She says, "I don't need a lot of pretty. So if you got what you needed, I can move on." So she always showed up right on time, totally dressed head to toe. You never saw her without being dressed head to toe. Uh, there's just so much to learn from Dolly. I mean, I don't know how she could have led a better life. I don't know how she could have led a bigger life, but I don't know how she could have led a better life.
So, Dean Keel, I understand you asked her once, how does it feel to mean so much to so many people? And what did she say?
That was the one question I always wanted to know about Dolly because she is such an icon. She's beloved by the LGBTQ community. She's beloved by women. When I travel internationally, if I'd get in a cab, they find out I was from Nashville. They knew two people, Johnny Cash and Dolly Parton. And so I asked her, I said, what does it mean so much to so many? And she said, it's scary. And she says, I just pray to God every day that I do what he wants and that people see light and love through me. But she said, I'm not perfect. And she says, I may have made mistakes. I may make mistakes. And she jokes, she says, I'm not confirming anything. But she said, you know what? Don't worship me or other celebrities. So, she took that responsibility seriously. But can you imagine every time you walked into a room, people started crying? When Shania Twain met her the first time, she cried. When Alison Krauss met her the first time, she started crying because that's what she means to female country artists. I mean, she was a beacon of light and love and hope and forgiveness and acceptance. And that, Dolly Parton's world was a big tent. Everybody was welcome. And that's what we can learn. Um, you know, Dolly Parton was bipartisan. Everybody loved Dolly. If you didn't love Dolly, I'm not sure I trust you because she's represents everything good in the world. So we just have to carry on now that light and love and keep a little bit of Dolly in our hearts and in our hair.
Dean Beverly Keel of the Scott Borchetta College of Media and Entertainment. Beverly, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.